Oh yes, welcome. Whoever is watching, we don't know who's watching. We can see you in Zoom, so welcome. And we gave a title, which is, How Can I Stay Still in the Everyday Challenges? How can I stay still in the everyday challenges? I mean, even the question is kind of difficult. So this stillness is always here. It's full of love, not needing anything or wanting anything. But this question, how do I stay still during everyday challenges, is the question of the person, this human being that wants something, that wants to be still.
Yeah, and the mind is designed to gather informations from the outside. Everything, sounds, colors, pictures, to somehow see into the future. To figure out what's next to do, what's the best thing to do.
And these are all imaginary.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with this until we believe in it as a reality. And then we get lost in the moving away from the stillness to gather informations. We get lost in the information, we get lost in the colors and the pictures.
And then from this gathered information, there will be stories, like past stories. And then we try to fix those stories.
To make them better for the future, to be prepared for a situation in the future.
It's like AI, like Gangaji said this last satsang. The artificial intelligence
Has nothing to do with the moment. Has nothing to do with real intelligence.
real intelligence is always fresh, empty, and like melting in love. It's the heart. I mean, we are showing here a heart, but it's like everywhere, heart, love. It's like loving everything and nothing. So then the question is not how do I stay still, but instead investigate how do I move away from stillness. What is this movement? How I move away, how I move into suffering again, into identification with the happenings around us. And you can watch yourself and see this, realize what you do.
How do you watch yourself? You see the thought which is arising. The thought which takes you away from this moment. The thought which wants something. And you don't touch it.
So first and foremost is the most important to realize is that what is happening on the mind and body level here, that has nothing to do with stillness, which is yourself. It is included in stillness. But stillness, or let's call it awareness, is always here, is always still. From that perspective, from its perspective, there is nothing else here. However, the body and mind is conditioned. And there are lots of things going on in the body and mind. And always the false expectation on the spiritual journey is that one day my body and mind will be always still and will always be happy. But it's not the case. It is happening how it was conditioned in its childhood. These things will come up. You can work on them, and we recommend working on them so that it will be less. But emotions and thoughts, so conditionings, always come also unexpectedly. You know, something triggers us and it turns on. And our responsibility is that we can be still, so to speak, that we recognize and we realize what's going on. Maybe we realize it when we are already in it, we are already in a mess and we are fearful and we are in pain and totally identified with our family and all the stories. But there is always a moment where you realize, oh, I am suffering. I am already in the whole thing. And that's the point where you can stop. See, oh, what's going on right now?
What am I telling to myself? What is the flavor, the emotion? How do I talk to myself?
How does it feel like in my body? Ah, there is anxiety. Is there a contraction in my tummy? Oh, yes, there is a contraction in the body. So you bring your attention back to the body. And interestingly, actually, when you bring your attention to the body and you experience and you feel what is there, then you go beyond the body. Because then, as it's being experienced, it disappears, so to speak, because it has room.
It loses its power.
It's not, we are not indulging in it, we are not pressing it down, but we are meeting that feeling or that story together with that story in our mind. And that's always, that's what we can say, that how can you stay still, is that you are willing to experience whatever comes up in your life right now. What is here? Is there sadness? Is there happiness? Is there boredom? Agitation? Oh, okay. Or jealousy, whatever. Oh, where am I feeling it in my body? Is there somewhere where it's contracted? Doesn't feel comfortable? What else? What else is here? So you become mindful with what's going on here, and you meet it and you experience it. You go even deeper, you can inquire into it.
So the thoughts will never stop, as Adrian said. But what will change is the relation. The more we learn about our thoughts, the more we are vigilant and see them and realize them. We also see they are not real. They're telling us some story. And it's not life-threatening to take them not too important. They are here, sometimes useful, sometimes not. But this is not who we are. We're much more than these thoughts, much more than this body, much more than these emotions. And by seeing this, the relation with body, thoughts, and emotion gets more soft, gets lighter. They are here, no problem.
There is more space for everything. You recognize yourself as a spaciousness in which all of this appears. This appears and disappears. And that's happiness. I mean, when you realize that you are this spaciousness and nothing touches this spaciousness, this is freedom. You recognize your movements, your conditionings for what they are. They are conditionings. We are human beings. And then you can even love this human being with all its mistakes and imperfection, and all the other humans with their imperfection. You because it doesn't matter, so to speak, because you see yourself in them. You see them also as love, not as human beings as love, that they are so perfect and they never hurt you, but beyond the person, you see yourself in them. And there is love. And this love is so pure. It's like, sattvic in yoga terms. And it's free, it's a free love. It's not that kind of love which we know from, person to person love, because that can be like, fluctuating and waves and so on. This is something else. We call it love, but it's more than the love.
So as usual, if there are any questions or reports, just let us know. And for those who are on YouTube, they can also type, write something? No? Okay.
And as far as I managed, if you talk, you will not be on YouTube. Only we are on YouTube. Only your voice will be on YouTube. But I can have a look. Yeah, only we are here. So, and I'll come back here. But we can test it, if you come in, if someone wants to talk. But you don't have to talk. You can also actually
just write to us.
Just write in the chat if you have a question. But you don't have to have a question. Next week there will be, meeting also with Hungarian translation. And and we also always have to mention that please like this video, the ones who will be watching later on also on YouTube, because that can help the video to spread. And you can also subscribe.
You were talking about love a minute ago, and this love, which is kind of different from this personal love. And this personal love we even call relationship. So it relates on something. Usually it's a deal. I give you safety, you give me sex, I give you power, you help me with these technical things, cook for me. So it's a kind of a deal. We do things for each other.
Then it's conditioned love, actually. It's called conditioned.
This love we're talking about has nothing to do with any condition, with any relation. It's here. It's free.
It's here. It's free. It's free of, thanks God, it's free of all relationships. It's free of everything.
Any moment. In every situation, even in the worst situation you can imagine, there is love. I can remember when once Gangaji was reading a letter to us from it was a Catholic priest in the Middle Age. His name was Johannes vom Kreuze. And he was really tortured. And he was suffering physically. And he was writing these letters, and these letters were full of love and realization, pure love. In the worst situation, no food, in a cold cage, tortured, love is still here. All it takes to realize is a moment of letting go of all these outside conditions, all the stories in your mind. Stop it for a moment. One moment.
It's just so good to rest in this. It's really similar to deep sleep, but it's like deep sleep while awake. And in deep sleep also there is no one there, and we love it so much. And earlier we were talking about spaciousness, and from spaciousness experiencing your emotions, thoughts, and bodily sensations. So to have more and more room for that, whatever appears. And that's exactly what happens in these meetings. That there is this spaciousness, there is this support together for each of us, so that anything can arise, can be seen for what it is, and then it can sink back down. There is room for everything. Or as Gangaji said, or Papaji, that everything is welcome to satsang. So this is totally the opposite what some people or maybe psychologists think, that this path, so to speak, or satsang is about, putting your feelings on the side or denying them, avoiding them, or so-called spiritual bypassing. It's not that at all. We are actually inviting everything what arises. And if you invite it here, it can be seen. It's welcomed. And we will, like others, we will also repeat it again and again, that it is exactly through direct experience. We would never say to avoid anything. That's the mind which would tell you to avoid. Oh, I'm not going to feel the fear, I will just solve the problem and think about it. That's avoiding. And we will say, come back here, feel the fear. What is it? Don't go up there and try to solve anything. Or what else? Or you are feeling anger. Or no, you are feeling righteous. You are not aware of the anger, but then we would say, oh, feel the anger. What's there? What's the hurt under that anger? It's so deep. So amazing. So we are not running away anymore from problems. Most of society are running away from problems, neurotic. And if we stop, or if we are like that, as we are, like more peaceful, they think that there is something wrong with us.
It's not just running away, it's just most people are driven by their fears, by their greediness. To get more joy, more happiness, more good food, more expensive cars. But it's never enough.
They are not aware of what's going on in them. And when you go to satsang, or when you go to whatever your practice is or your spiritual path is, and then things start to come up. So there's lots of things going on bodily, because all the things which were like avoided in this life or even lifetimes, as soon as you enter this satsang or awakening, getting to know yourself, your true self, then all that which have been kind of scored in your body, they come up.
They get released.
They get released. So that's why we do support, whatever you like to do bodily, yoga or Tai Chi, Qigong, massage, because the body starts releasing all of these things. And that's why it's so good. There are so many help out there for that. And that's for the body and mind. And at the same time, you are recognizing that you are not the body and mind. And still, they are, having their own kind of stories and memories. And the other thing is, it was like with me, and probably it's familiar to others as well, that I remember back then when I went home from my first retreat, I thought that when I go back to the world, then, everyone will be pure, or there will be no abusers, there will be no, now I would say, codependents, there will be no narcissists. But when you go back to your life, these circumstances can still be there.
Why should they have changed?
Yeah. It's just good to know that will be the same, the world goes on.
With all its madness.
And you can stay true, you have the capacity to stay true. And that's why there are these meetings and other meetings, satsangs, that we support each other in that.
But what has changed maybe in one of these meetings is that you do not feel the need to react. Things are happening, yeah? Who cares? Your relation with everything can change. Of course, there are situations where reaction is quite appropriate, it's needed. And you will see. I mean, when you're on the street and a car is coming fast, you will jump. That's normal. But there are so many situations in our life where we start going into a discussion, into a conversation, we start getting angry, defend ourselves. For what? For nothing. It's just a game. There's nothing to do with you, nothing to do with who you are truly.
And you have the permission to not go into the game. Because we can feel so, because most of the people, they go into the game, and then we feel like pulled into it, and we think that that's normal, we should go into the game.
That's what was learned.
That was learned, and there is the permission here to not go into the game. We are not here to solve other people's problems, or how should we? I mean, we cannot even solve our own problems. I mean, and that's always just a projection, what we think the other's problem is. It's like you really it's not, there is really no sense in it. I know that one of the participants who is here likes the chicken. It's really like that. It's like always just the perception of the other one anyway. Even our memory is not so trustworthy because, we cannot remember the past as it really was. That's again another very new perspective. Isn't it amazing how we can be here with each other silent? No one wants anything from you. surrendering deeper and deeper. So there are no questions.
It's also fine. Perfect. Dear ones. Stay vigilant and relaxed.
Yeah.
Joyful. Know who you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.